All right, well, I will call the meeting to order at 6:36 on May 18th, 2022. Let me pull up and the first order on the first call on the agenda is to review the minutes from the April 13th meeting. So Flo just sent those all out to us. Do we want to do that tonight, or do we want to delay and approve those at the next meeting so people have time to review them?
I move we.
For a few of us, it's hard.
I would move we what do we call it? Delay, act on those minutes next time around. That's if I have to make a motion, I would make that motion.
I agree.
Okay.
That's a second. All in favor, raise your hands.
Second, all in favor.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No? Okay, so we'll delay the minutes until next month.
Could we just get Suzanne? Could we get Suzanne's last name? I just don't see it on the screen.
Oh, Powers, P-O-W-E-R-S.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you get the email from Sherry so I can look at that email to see that I have the right list? Was everybody on here? Did everybody on here get Sherry's email with the link?
Yeah.
I'll double check. I'm not sure I did, but I should have, because I've been on the board for a while. So but I appreciated your sending it to me again today.
Okay. Okay, so for the third thing on the agenda then is the financial report. And I'm not sure what you've done in the past for the financial report. I can share that the budget was passed at town meeting 2 nights ago. And so we had no concerns with that. The budget passed unanimously at town hall.
Was it level funded, or was there an increase or decrease, or what was for the COA?
It was level funded for the COA, it was level funded, just an adjustment for the contractual salaries. And we are anticipating hopefully more money with the grant once they use the 2020 census data, but that hasn't been released yet. So hopefully I have an update for that at the next meeting, for the formula grant.
Was that the formula? What is the formula grant?
That's the state grant that it used to be, I guess, every 2 years Judy had to renew it. Now they've just increased it to, I think, 5 or 10 years that it's good for, but it looks at, it's a percentage of money that or a dollar amount that you get in the community for every resident over 60 and over. So we've been getting it for the past 10 years based on the 2010 state census data. So they're anticipating we'll have an increase for the 2020 census data. It's $12 and some change for each resident over 60. I don't know the exact amount. I'm just digesting it all now.
Yeah, okay.
Do you think, will that be in the next 6 months or a year from now, or when does that get?
No, it should be sooner than that. Should be sooner than that. Let me see if I have a note on that one. Let's see, so it is $12, so it's $12 for each 60 plus resident. And Judy just said the number is expected to change next year when the federal census is finalized. So for next fiscal year.
So Karen, do you know, was it $12 for the 2010? Has it been $12 since 2010? Or
yeah, it's been the same. It goes on that. To my knowledge, that's how it works. She said that the state uses the latest federal census numbers of 5,209 from the 2010 and figuring what Wakefield received. So we stayed the same.
But no increase in the dollar amount per person in 10 years?
She didn't go into that, so I'm not sure if it was a bigger dollar amount. I could find that out for you if you want.
Well, it would seem, right, 10 years. I mean, that's a long time to stay at a $12
sure.
rate.
I could reach out to some other COA directors that have been here longer to see if they know what it used to be or if there's been a COLA adjustment for that at all.
Thank you.
And is that, this is just a question, this, not to put you on the spot, Karen, because you've been on the job for a week now, but so is that money for, say, support of the building or the staff salaries or for programming? What do
so the grant, the fabulous Judy left me notes. So I can read her notes. So the grant pays the salary of the activity coordinator, pays the postage for the mailing of the newsletters. It pays for our exercise instructors, the Mass COA dues and membership that we have to pay. It pays for a stipend for using the My Senior Center program that we use.
Interesting.
Let's see. So those are the big things. Some of the programming here in the center. The mindful crafting, it pays for that.
Okay. Interesting. I never thought to ask, and I'm sure we probably were told at some point, but
Yeah, well.
thank you.
So does anybody else have anything for the budget?
No. Typically she would give us a kind of a rundown. I mean, there are old spreadsheets that she used to provide us with of like the past month's expenditures, that most of them were all like standard recurring expenses, personnel, repairs on the vans, what else? Other things like that.
Supplies or office, office expense, supplies.
Special events, something,
special events,
that might have been an extra expense.
Okay, did she send those to you all via email?
With the minutes.
Yeah, she would email the spreadsheet beforehand, and we would actually, that would be one of the items we would approve on a month-to-month basis. So it was for the, for the previous month. So for now, we would have reviewed the expenditures for whatever month was last, April. Right?
It doesn't necessarily have to continue, but that report would also include the usage of the center or usage, head counts for different activities, activities and rides and, van rides and I don't know what else.
Yeah, with pretty much those kinds of things, we could see a trend, like certainly during the pandemic, there were like, 12 people taken for doctor appointments when, previously there had been 60 in the course of a month, that sort of stuff. Just
okay. Yeah, I can get all of that. I think that was, for me, the purpose of tonight was the meet and greet and to see what stuff you wanted from
sounds got it. Yeah, that's.
I'll make sure I have all that for next month. I do have the April budget right here, but
yeah. And again, whatever you see as reasonable, I don't consider it mission critical. So
right.
Okay. No, I think that all sounds great. I'll definitely have all that information for the next one.
So Karen, can I ask a question? When you say meet and greet, of course, meeting and greeting you in person or as close to in person as we can get, but there's also 2 new members here. So do we get to meet and greet each other? Are you going to give us some time to do that?
Oh, I would love to. I didn't know I was going to be chair tonight, so just doing the best I can. So we could definitely add that. We can, we could do that now if we want.
Sure, let's do that.
Susan, do you want to start?
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, since I asked a question, I'm Susan Jepson, and I am, I think I was just reappointed. So I guess I don't know what that means. I was just reappointed. I had to go do my oath and everything down at town hall. So I guess that means I've been on this board for 3 years, I think, going into my 4th year. And, I've been here. I live in Wakefield, of course, but I got to know the Wakefield Center a little bit because I'm also a Shine counselor, which is a Medicare counselor. And I was assigned to the Wakefield Center for a couple of years. I'm not the Shine counselor there now, but so that's how I got to know a little bit more about what went on. And then I moved to Wakefield. I've only lived here for 4 years. So I got interested in what was going on and being on the board. And then the pandemic came. So it sort of changed the way we were meeting. We were meeting in person once upon a time, but we've been meeting like this since the pandemic started. And I just look forward to working with you, Karen, and the rest of the group here and moving forward into the McCarthy Center's next decade of activity. And it'll be fun to see what happens, what goes forward. So thank you.
Thank you. Jim, I could go through my little squares here and say, so Elizabeth, do you go by Liz?
I do.
Would you like to go next?
Sure. I have lived in Wakefield for almost 60 years. I volunteered at the food pantry for about 15. I'm a retired school teacher from Newton. I started as a home ec teacher. I ended up as a sex education teacher.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
It was fun and interesting.
Oh my God.
I have three adult kids. The shadow you saw originally, that was my husband. At 80, I think I can represent the older Wakefield resident. Being on the board has really been interesting, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I think that's enough about me. We'll move on.
Thanks, Liz. So next to my squares, we have Christina. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm one of the newbies. My name's Christina De La Croce. I have lived in Wakefield for 25 years. So I wanted to give back to the community. I've, worked as a volunteer at the farmers market because it's down the street from my house, kind of thing. But wanted to give back to something that I feel like a little bit in line with what I'm good at. And so I started my career as an occupational therapist. So geriatrics was always my specialty. I'd rather work with somebody who has dementia than anything else. I just find it a fascinating stage of life. And there's still a person in there for sure. So that's just something near and dear to me. I'm now on the administrative side of healthcare. For instance, during COVID, I ran both Boston Hope Hospital. When we were taking care of COVID patients in downtown Boston at the convention center. So I work for a very large primary care organization. You may have heard of Atrius Health or Harvard Vanguard. So I'm one of the executives in the organization and wanted to give back. So it's been on my bucket list to be on a board, and what better way to sort of use my experience and my passion for people who are older than me, and thought I could learn something and give back to my community. So thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How about you, Joanne? Would you like to go next?
Sure. Hi. I have been on the Council on Aging board since September, so I'm fairly new. And I live nearby in the neighborhood on Chestnut Street. I've been in Wakefield for 30 years. I'm actually kind of a new senior. I just turned 60, so I'm on the younger end of the that generation. And I have a little company called Healthy Living Care. I'm a fitness instructor. I'm a home health aide. I take care of people with Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. And I transitioned to this recently. Over the past couple of years, I was formerly in high tech as a trainer, a technical trainer and course developer. I was also on the planning board in Wakefield. So I got a little taste of the town committees by doing that, and really enjoy meeting all the different people in town and participating. I also am on the Wakefield Garden Club. I'm the membership coordinator, and really having a good time with that because I'm a gardener. That's a little bit about me. Happy to be here and hoping to contribute more to the group.
Wonderful, thank you. Flo, would you like to go next?
Sure. So I'm Flo Calori. I've got you all beat. I've lived in Wakefield since I was born. So, as did my husband. So I've lived here for many moons. I'll be 70 next month. And I'm a retired geriatric nurse practitioner. So working with the elderly has been my life's work as well, Christina. I retired about 4 years ago. Excuse me. I usually don't sound like this. I usually have a normal voice, not this like deep, sexy voice. I retired about 4 years ago. I worked in administration primarily after I had stopped practicing officially for a big health plan here in Massachusetts. And we raised a family here. Our children are adults. I'm a grandmother of one, soon to be two. And I am also a volunteer nursing home ombudsman. So I visit elders in nursing homes as well, and serve as somewhat of an advocate, which has been really interesting during the pandemic because we couldn't go into the nursing facilities. Have done some volunteer work at the food pantry as well. And as I said, have lived here my whole life. I lived away at college and a couple other places, but always came back to home turf. And my term is I'm on the board for another year till I think April of next year, which surprised me because I thought I was done, but I'm still here. And so it will be my end of my second term in a year. So great to be here.
Thank you. Suzanne, would you like to go?
Sure. Sorry, I muted myself. I have an almost 7-month-old puppy who's barking at people walking by. But my name's Suzanne Powers. I've been in Wakefield for 23 years. The reason I wanted to join, my mom used to work at the Council on Aging Senior Center. She was in I forget the name of the school by the police station. And then when the McCarthy Center opened, that was like big doings. I can't remember the
Lincoln
boss
School.
Oh. What was that?
She was at the Lincoln School?
Yes, at the Lincoln School, yes. And do you remember who was the director then? I don't remember. Think of her name. Anyway, she worked with her, and then Judy had come in. So when I saw this, I thought, well, my mom's still going she'll be 90 this summer. So I thought, I'm going to keep her legacy with the Council on Aging Senior Center going, because we visited it a lot. My son was just a baby when she was working there. My dad took him up there all the time to have the munchkins with the seniors.
Fun.
So looking forward to helping out in the town and seeing what we can do for the seniors.
Welcome.
Welcome. So at least me, so I'm Karen Burke. I took over, Judy retired on April 30th was her last day, and my first day was May 9th. So this is my second week. So thank you for being flexible and going with the meeting this week instead of last week. So we had the 72 hours notice we needed for the open meeting. So thank you all. I started here, I retired from the Air Force after 21 years of active duty back in 2016. And I started as the VSO in Wakefield part-time. So I started right here at the McCarthy Center. And then I moved over to Melrose to take the director position for the past 4 years. And when Judy was retiring, she let me know in case I wanted to apply. And I always admired and loved what Judy did. So I definitely jumped at the chance to be able to come back here where I started after finishing active duty. I was a nurse in the Air Force. When I left the Air Force, I didn't do nursing for a bit because I needed some flexibility with my son. He is 10 now. And we've appointments and things like that we have to go to frequently. So that's how I ended up as the VSO and just kind of worked my way here. So I'm not actively nursing right now. And I do miss it, but I feel like this is a great thing to be doing. It's very similar with the social service and working with the senior population. So I am excited to be here and to work with all of you.
And welcome to you too.
Thank you.
Karen, would it be okay? I just would like to add something. Is that okay?
Oh yeah, please do.
Okay. I didn't talk about my career history. My career, I spent over 20 years running programs for getting people over 55 back to work, over 45, over 55, depending on our funding source. And I'm bringing that up I'm bringing that up because of the wholeness of elderly living, and the some of the I saw something in the Wakefield, I think it was Wakefield Community Group, it might have been Stoneham Community Group this week, which really distressed me, and I want to bring it out there, because I think as we go forward, you know, the wholeness of senior life is something that I care very much about. I know we all do too, but what we've talked about, a lot of people brought up health issues and healthcare and, you know, dementia, and those things are all very much part of the aging experience. But what I read in the Wakefield, in the Facebook, somebody had some adult diapers that they were looking to donate somewhere. And the first response was about the senior center taking them. And, you know, it just like, would the senior center take them? And it just like stabbed me in my heart, only because there's so much of a perception in the world, I believe, and age, that once people get to be seniors and go to the senior center, or, you know, that there are those failings. There's health failings, there's incontinence, there's dementia, there's mobility. I have mobility issues. There's mobility issues. There's all kinds of things that are decline. And I'm bringing up the fact that I worked with older people, some as old as in their 90s, who were very much interested and cared about working for money and volunteering, but working was the main thing. So there's the wholeness, and I'll be quiet now. I won't ramble anymore, but I care very much about the wholeness of the lives of aging people in our community, in the country, in the world. So I hope that in our aging, you know, Wakefield becoming an age-friendly town, I think is a really cool thing that has happened, and it brings some of that in. So anyway, thank you for letting me get on my little high horse, my little soapbox for a minute.
Thank you. That's good to hear. I like your ideas. I think the age-friendly stuff is important too.
It is.
Thank you. So I did put the age-friendly update on there, and I don't have anything as an update from me, if anybody else does, but I'm looking into all the work that went into making us age-friendly, which I think it's just a great thing. It made me really happy to see that. So I'm just diving into all of this now to see all what that involves and implies to keep it going.
It's also, you know, the master plan. I was the COA's representative to the Vision 2030 group that met over the course of 2021, mostly 2021, on Zoom. It was a visioning process that was, I think, you know, some people here, I know I saw at different focus group meetings. So there's some stuff in the Vision 2030 that is feeding into the master planning that's going on right now, which I'm not part of. But I think that's, you know, that there's some desire to kind of watch the integration, advocate for the integration of some of the age-friendly stuff. And I don't know, you know, we had started to discuss it a little bit with Judy, but she, you know, before she decided to retire, when she made public, it was sort of, let's wait on this. But I'm bringing that up only because I don't want to lose sight of it. You know, the master planning for the town, the visioning to 2030, and our age-friendly plan. All of these big documents are out there, and what people have said they wanted for Wakefield. So it's our chance to roar harder, louder.
That's a great segue actually for some new business I wanted to bring up that I talked to Beth and to Marianne when I got here, and we're interested in putting out a needs assessment to the community to see, now that we're living in a bit more of a post-pandemic world, to try and bring more people back into the center and to see what different programming people are looking for. So we are hoping to do that needs assessment in the fall, put something together so I can bring it before the board next month of what kind of questions we thought we'd send out there and different ways people think would be the best way to get the word out. But to see, you know, our exercise classes, for example, are full, our painting, our crafting are full, but what other things are people looking for and how can we get more people to come back of all different ages throughout the spectrum of the 60 plus people. So if it's okay with everyone, I would like to, I'm going to review. Beth Greenberg was amazing. She pulled me some needs assessments that other communities have used. We're going to look at those together and come up with what we think would be good for Wakefield, and then I'll present it to you at the next meeting to get your input for additions of any other things you'd like to see so that we can send the needs assessment out and do some strategic planning for the Council on Aging going forward, so we can try and really make this the center for the community, make it the people center of what they want and give them what kind of things they want.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I would suggest for publicity is to have a couple of pictures. If some people would be willing to have their picture taken and be in some type of brochure or TV or even computer program. And the reason for that is my own mother would not go to the senior center because she thought there were only old, decrepit people there. Her words, not mine. And I think if people could see the activities, you know, the different activities and people sitting there and enjoying them, that might help. I'm not sure. I'm not in the advertising business, and I've also heard that from other people who are my age. That, you know, my mother said she wasn't going to go down there with all those old people, and if they could see people who looked vibrant and active and engaged, that might be some help. I know there are a few people my age, over 80, who go, but most of the people that I know who go to the senior center programs are much younger than I am. They're maybe in their, I'd say more in their 60s than in their 80s, where I think, and I have gone to some of the programs and thoroughly enjoyed them. You know, depending on what they could see, or, you know, something like that would be helpful. Just an opinion, though.
Visuals are very powerful. Yeah, I think that's
Yes,
a great idea, Liz.
I think they are.
Yeah.
I think what you're also getting at is that, you know, there's not usually, you know, if you get a 30% return rate, that's like stellar when you're trying to do a survey, right? Mm-hmm. So when you're trying to do a needs assessment, sometimes people don't know what they need. It's like going to the internet. You don't,
right.
Amazon, right? Until you get there and you're like, oh, I didn't know I needed that until you see it. So I do think it comes down to how you ask the question, the blanket question of just, hey, how can we serve you better? Versus, to your point, it's like, we have amazing, you know, X, Y, and Z programs. Are you looking to see more of those? Or do you think it would be helpful if we had, you know, sort of like a leading question, so that if you kind of have in your head, Karen, of what you know from your experience, what tends to be helpful, but maybe it's intergenerational. Like, what is it? What are the things that you think might be really great because you'd love to see more of, and see how people react to it? Does that make sense? Is that what you were thinking and how you're going to approach it? I don't know, but.
And because you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And who would the survey go out? Who would the survey go out to? Would it go out to just seniors, or?
No, we were thinking broader than that. Well, that's why I bring it up here, because it's definitely, this is just a very baby steps of it. So I'm looking for everybody's input. But we were thinking that you can incorporate, you know, do you have a parent who would meet this
Okay,
category,
good.
who
Yeah.
loves this kind of programming? So our idea was really more to community-wide to see, because I know,
Okay.
for example, so just to make sure we have somebody else, hey, I think my mom would really come to this,
Right.
even if mom's not
Yes.
going to read the survey.
Yeah, I think that's
get
what I was getting at, that my mom probably wouldn't put down anything, but we could think of plenty of things that she might want to get involved in.
I wonder
just
too,
think-
if there's some consideration that just as a broad category of off-site things, assessing people's interest in like joint programming with the BB or joint programming, doesn't even have to be joint, but sponsored programming at, you know, at the art center, or I don't know, and McCarthy night at the, you know, the Pops or what, something, or the, not the Pops in Boston, but, you know, a local thing, some stuff like that, anyway, so that everything that happens isn't necessarily.
And just like those, you know, what the information that we used to see, you know, certainly prior to the pandemic about, you know, attendance at like some really significant events. They had someone come and perform. What was it, Julia? Or it was, there were been a couple of live performances that were they happened to be at the senior center, but there were throngs of people who attended. And I think it's events like those that tend to bring people who wouldn't ordinarily go to the senior center because they didn't know what to find there. I think, you know, that was very telling, that there were large numbers of people who showed up for things like that. And yet, you know, perhaps they wouldn't attend a weekly exercise class there, or they might, I don't know. So I think definitely that sounds like a great approach at this point.
And I always, when, you know, they first moved into the McCarthy Center in that top floor, it's probably still, is it still vacant?
Yes.
Yeah. I always had this vision to have an intergenerational center up there. And I watched this thing on Facebook. I think it's in Australia. It's old people's home for 4-year-olds. I don't know if anybody's ever seen it.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Oh my God. I want that for Wakefield. I so want that for Wakefield, that, you know, every Tuesday or every Tuesday, Thursday, you know, new moms, you know, not baby. And I know with COVID, it's probably, you know, like talk about like super spreaders, you know, these kids, they got germs to beat the band, but, you know, go to like these were 4-year-olds, but 3, 4, 5-year-olds. And I mean, it just, I love watching that. And I just would, my mom's 90, my grandmother had dementia, my mom's starting to slip. They love babies. Any baby will do. We just put videos on of babies and she's thrilled. They would love to, and that way you get the younger generation involved in the senior center and in the seniors period. So I think that's a win for everybody. And I mean, my vision would be to have that top floor into an intergenerational center down the road, but you know, I'll dream. But I think having some kind of kit, you know, I forget what bubs and mums or something they call it over there in Australia, would be awesome for the seniors here.
And time of day and weekends too. I just, you know, just in the survey, if like, would people, because there's people that work that can't come to the McCarthy Center during the day, but they would very likely perhaps come to something at night or on Saturday or something.
Right.
Do you think that when you talk about intergenerational, I think even within the senior population, it's intergenerational, you know, because a 60-year-old versus a 90-year-old, that's a pretty big difference. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Right. When I say it, I'm thinking, you know, a 4-year-old. You know, I'm thinking, you know, back in the day, you know, when I was in school, I think Stride Right was the first to come out with like, they had an intergenerational daycare center at their facility in, where were they located? Waltham, wherever, Cambridge, wherever they were located. And I think a lot of other companies have kind of started doing that, but that would be my dream, because a lot of people's like, what do I do with my mom? It'd be great to drop her off at a place where for 4 hours she could hang out with kids, like little kids, and even just watch them play would be fine. But you know, that's what I'm thinking. Sorry, I'm out here with the puppies knocking me over. That's what I'm thinking when I say intergenerational. But you're right. I know there is a big gap even in the senior population.
Yeah. Do you think seniors of all ages feel welcome and go to the senior center in Wakefield?
They do, from my from my experience pre-COVID when I was the VSO here and now, we definitely have a range. We have a range of people, but again, this is only my second week, so I'm just now starting to see. I know the exercise classes are all full with wait lists. And that seems to have a lot of our like 60s, early 70s seniors. And we have the painting class is very popular. The mindful crafting is popular. The wood carving is popular. We have small groups of people who play cards. So that's what we're trying to get our hands around is what do people want? But I do think people feel welcome that come and know the things that we offer. But I'm just trying to grasp it all. So that's my limited window.
I think you're right. I forget who said it. Oh, go ahead.
Well, some of you have heard this story before, but in the Vision 2030 process, where there was a lot of surveying going on and we were collecting demographic information as well from people that were responding to the survey. And one of the demographic questions, among a lot of them, but one of the demographic questions had to do with age brackets. So the brackets started at 18 to 30 was one bracket. And then it was every 10 years, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60. And then it was 60 and older.
Yeah.
And I said, wait a minute. So it never got changed. And there was lots of, I don't know what to tell you. I really hold the town somewhat responsible for that because it never got changed on the survey. But there's this vision or this perception that once people are 60, we're all the same. I'm going to be 70 this year too, Flo, this summer. We're all the same, and we're not. So I think that's a mission we could take on also through our work.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I think so. Some of you are frozen on me. I don't know if I'm frozen.
Is there a mission statement of the senior center, or kind of coming back to your roots and really what they're here to do to serve? I mean, like I think about really what you're all describing is it's about living your life the best life that you want to live, right? And so how do you support people the way they want to do that? And it's, for some people it's staying healthy, for some people it's having fun, however they define that, whatever state. And even to your point, Joanne, a 60-year-old and an 80-year-old might listen to very different music, right? Right, if you're having an entertainer with all of that. So what's really the mission? Is it to serve them, whatever that means, right? Like if it's me, it's going to be a wine tasting, right? Like that's going to get me in if it's a wine tasting, or it's a food pairing, or even a tea tasting, kind of thing. But everybody has something that would like just add a smile to their day.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
But you're already doing a lot of that already, right? Obviously, if you're full, you're already doing that, which is awesome.
Yeah, I think it'll be timely, right? We can get this out, this work together to get the assessment and really see what kind of other things we can add going into the fall to offer for programming outside of the things that we currently have that are busy, to get the people who don't want to come in for an exercise class but want to come in for a wine tasting or come in for a function or want to come in for a class, like bring back in the Medicare instructors to go over that of, hey, are you going to be on Medicaid in the next 10 years? Do you want to come in for a class on what does that look like and what do you need to do? So start looking at the different types of educational offerings and all different types of things to capture everybody who wants for the different parts, who want to come in for whatever their passion is or whatever their enjoyment is.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of welcoming do you do for people when they first come there? Like, if they're new and they walk in and they don't, they're not coming there with a friend. So obviously they want to get to know people and see familiar faces or meet new people. and feel comfortable there if it's a new place for them. Do you do anything like that? Any kind of welcoming or?
We do. So if they come in, so again, this is only my second week. When I was here pre-COVID as the VSO, when somebody would come in, we would welcome them, take them on a tour of the center. We'd give them a newsletter, talk to them about the different programming we have, sign them up to get them their key card. And we still do that. The same type of thing. Here are some of the offerings. With exercise classes, if somebody was interested, there's a wait list for a lot of them, but we could have them come and see if they like the class, and then they could get on to know if they even want to be on the wait list. But it's just that basic welcome. This is who we are. Here's our newsletter. Let's sign you up so you start to get this in the mail. Here's some of what we offer.
Yeah, I think that's good. I guess I think that social activities where, you know, people are spending time together with other people that have interests that are similar to them. I mean, that's what I've seen. I work at the Council on Aging in Billerica, and the people that go there, they all know each other. You know, they've built a lot of friendships there, and that connection, I think that's a key reason why they go. They can go get exercise classes in a lot of different places now, but if there's a differentiator there, I think that's more likely to make people feel
I think
like
that's part of it. I think that's part of it. So, you know, for a new person, we come in and we try and introduce them or see what their interests are so that we can help guide them to the right programming. But the people do have that connection. It's the same people who are coming to the class or come to the mindful crafting or who come to Busy Hands formerly. So they do make those connections. We don't have the lunches right now, so there's not the lunch piece. They had been poorly attended even pre-COVID, but it's to introduce them to that programming. So hopefully they find something they're interested in, and then they can come in and get to know the people and form those friendships or those connections once they come in. So that's how we're looking to expand our offerings so that there are more offerings for everybody to find the thing that they like to come in and make those connections. So of course, if they come in new, we would introduce them to people within that group, but it's seeing what groups are interested in attending when they come in to meet us initially. Open to suggestions though. This is I started 1 week ago, so I'm definitely open to everybody's input and suggestions.
We're probably overwhelming you right now.
Yeah, and I think you're on the right track. I think, you know, you've seen it in operation. You have a sense of what does go on. I don't think things are broken. I think that finding out what else people may be interested in is certainly the way to go right now. What people may be interested in and what people would be willing to attend may be very different given whatever will happen with healthcare and the ongoing pandemic. But
right.
I think you're on the right track.
Definitely been a big disruptor, and things probably aren't going to go back to the way they were in any, you know, in that regard.
Yeah, there's definitely less coming to the center for the day to hang out that happens now. It's more people come in for their craft activity or their activity that whatever they've signed up for or coming in for. So they come in and they visit and they do that activity, and then they tend to go home.
Yeah, definitely. And I know even Judy was pointing out to me bridge. I guess there used to be, I don't know, 8 or 10 tables of people playing bridge. It was very popular. And when I was by there a few weeks ago, I think there were 3 tables. And that's, you know, considered, that was a lot of people for the current time. So
yeah, and that's the group we're having a harder time figuring out, like how to make people feel safe that you can come back. In some may not be able to capture them. People just don't feel comfortable in the bigger groups, but to see how the best we can to make it as safe as possible for people to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Karen, I wonder if part of the survey too could be asking some questions about how people spend their time. And that's not exactly what I mean, but in fact, where are, you know, what other groups or what other places or what other activities do people engage in, you know, outside of, you know, just what do they do? What do they do with themselves? And that may lend some ideas to to real stuff, like whether it's, I don't know, they work at the food pantry or whatever they do, just to see, get a profile, sort of a profile, composite profile.
That's a good idea.
Maybe we could have Liz do a sex education for older people.
No, Liz,
Oh,
really?
no, I would have a good course for them.
Yeah, that would get people.
That would be a draw.
Well, that's an age group that is getting a lot of venereal diseases.
Oh, okay. Well, it's good to know. I mean, that's not good to know, but it's good to know that whatever they're doing to get those is happening. So that's good, right? Maybe that was inappropriate. I apologize.
No.
No offense taken.
So does anybody else have anything for a new business they want to add for this meeting?
Not I.
Appreciate your
Everybody
enthusiasm and your excitement and your energy that you're bringing to this new venture for you and new venture for Wakefield. And we're here to do what we can to support you and help you and help the town in whatever endeavors.
Thank you. It's exciting to be here, and I'm glad that we get to all meet tonight. And I apologize because everybody keeps freezing on me, so I'm not sure if I'm missing anything. So otherwise, do people want to think about if somebody wants to be chair so that next meeting we can nominate and vote? If anybody has a burning desire to be the chair.
I do not, but I think we would, if there is a job description or a role description, that would be helpful.
That would be helpful, yes.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll look through the Council on Aging Drive over the next month to see if I can find anything. And I can check in with Sherry too to see if she has anything.
Okay.
And Flo, do you want to continue to be the recording secretary? Or are you looking to?
Sure. Yeah, I'll continue to do this. I'd like to nominate Susan Jepson to be the chair.
No, I said, you heard me.
I heard you.
I said no.
Anyway.
Thank you for your.
A job description would be good.
Yeah, that would be good.
I've been the chair of other things, but a job description would be helpful.
Okay,
I mean, I guess
I'll work on that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's one somewhere.
If I find it, I'll email it to the group prior to the meeting so that you have it to review before the meeting.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so then I think if we do it the normal Robert's rules, we need a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Yes.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So
anyone opposed?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I would just want to confirm our next meeting will be the regular Wednesday.
Yeah, so if everybody's good with that, we can go back to the normal one. We just have to have that 72 hours notice, and I wasn't here with it.
Yeah, no, I understand that. That's fine.
And what would that date be? Because I go away for the summer.
I believe that's June 8th. Is it the second Wednesday that you meet?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So June 8th, if that works for everyone.
Okay.
I won't be able to make it because I'll be seeing a geriatric performer at Fenway Park. So sorry.
Oh, who are you going to see?
Paul McCartney.
Oh,
That's right.
you lucky ducky.
I know, right?
He's turning 80, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take it back. I just had to drop that. But it's either I can't remember if we're going the 7th or the 8th. He's only here 2 nights, but anyway, I just had to drop that.
Oh, I think that's wonderful that you're going and that he's
I like
performing.
to support the, support the movement,
Maybe we could recruit him to help us as the Wakefield honorary COM member, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure, I bet he'd probably be interested.
Or maybe you could do performance here at the McCarthy Center.
Yeah.
That would bring them in for sure.
Quick question about the meetings. Is there any plan to meet in person anytime soon? Do you know?
Yeah, what's the
I need
town
to check
doing?
because I think it's a town thing right now that we're still remote. So I'll have to ask the town if there's any plan. To my knowledge, right now, there's not. I would love to be meeting in person, not this way, but I'll ask Sherry if she knows when we might be able to meet in person again.
Yeah, I think
Or at least
some of, I
hybrid.
think some committees do meet in person, and I'm not sure why some do and some don't, if there's any reasoning behind that.
Yeah.
I think
Do
at
people
one
prefer to
point,
meet in person?
at one point it was related to the capability to record the meeting, because you can do that on a Zoom, but you can't in every meeting hall, say at the senior center or at the town hall.
We have to make it open, right? So it can
Yes.
be open without being.
It can be open, but I also think they have to record it.
I believe that's true.
I think that was one of the limitations, but I don't know if that's true or not. I may just be making that one up. I don't know. I thought I heard her.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah, I think there's also a hybrid option where you can have it in person and Zoom.
Yeah.
I will ask the question.
Like if we had to go to like what is WCAT or whatever it is, if we had to go to their offices, do they have a meeting room that we could go? I'm curious about that. Yeah.
Right, because I think it's there, or I think there's one meeting room at the town hall that can do it, but I don't know that there are other locations. Anyway, that's just sticks in my head that we brought that up a while ago, I thought.
We did, and then we had the spike in January, February.
Right.
The town said no, and then now we're at high risk again, but
I know.
it's a different, it feels different to me now. Good question, Joanne.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll ask so I can respond at the next meeting about that one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we're adjourned.
We are adjourned.
Well, thank you all for coming in.
Bye-bye. Good to meet the new folks. Take care.
Yeah, welcome aboard.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, guys.